Whoo, boy. All right. Who's ready to get their hopes up? Okay. It is Easter Sunday when I'm filming this. NFL draft is about 3 weeks away. And the Chicago Bears have to figure out what they're going to do in the first round. For the first time in a while. A couple years it's been since the Bears had picked in the first round. I'm not used to it because before then we hadn't picked in a while either. I'm not. Next year we're gonna have 2 first-round picks. I'm not used to it. I don't know. It's just a weird feeling I have. Um, Unfortunately though, there's a lot of things that we can do with this pick, and that's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because there's a lot of things that can happen on draft night. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's gonna be entertaining. But on the downside is, that we can't fix all of this in just one draft. Like, it's going to take another couple years before this ship is moving again, because last year we just were so lost, so many needs. It was really bad. Like, I think the only thing that we didn't need was quarterback. Like, it was that bad. And you might be thinking like, well, just take a lineman. Like, well, I mean, which side, offense or defense? Like, our offensive line was so bad. Justin Fields was sacked more than any other quarterback in the league last year. But then you look on the flip side, and we had the least amount of sacks in the league on defense, and our run defense was laughable, like so bad. And it's like, well, okay, but then you have to assess like, who's going to be there at 9? Like, is Poles even going to stay put at 9? Is he going to move back? Is he going to trade up? God, I hope not, but he could. And it's just like, I think we're the biggest wild card on draft night, because not only is it like, what are we going to do, but what prospects are going to fall to us? If Will Levis falls to 9, you best believe somebody like the Titans or the Commanders are going to package something to trade up and take that guy. And we just have to be ready for that. So be fully prepared for us to not be picking at 9. Maybe we'll move back to 11. Like, we're going to be moving around this draft. And not only that, we don't pick again from 9 until 53 or something like that. That's bad. Like, that's a big gap to be missing talent. Like, you do not want that. Like, you want to have as many picks as possible in the top 70. Otherwise, you're not going to get a lot, because that's where you get a lot of starters, and that's where you get a lot of your franchise cornerstones. And God, do we need those. So you could move forward with your second round pick. You could like package those two to move up. But do you want to do that? Because you kind of need those picks, because our team was so lost. And that's why that Claypool trade is looking worse and worse as time goes on. But it's fine. Let's let bygones be bygones. I mean, Claypool could still be good for us, but boy, has he not lived up to number 32 overall pick value, especially since even if he does look good this year, we're letting him go after this year. Like, there's no way we're re-signing him. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so like, evaluating the needs of this team, like, we need D-line, but who's going to be available for D-line? Will Anderson's going to be gone. Tyree Wilson's going to be gone. Jalen Carter might be there, but his character concerns are so bad that I don't want him. And character concerns aside, I was worried about him already, because there's been issues about his stamina that Georgia fans have been saying all year. Like, his stamina is a problem. He disappears during games. He's not well conditioned. And I'm like, that's not going to translate into the league. And I watch his tape, and I don't know. I'm just not very, like, I'm kind of underwhelmed. Maybe that's just me, but I felt the same thing with Will Anderson. I was kind of underwhelmed by their tape, but I trust the experts saying that they're going to be studs. So if they're going to be studs, then they're going to be studs, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like I'm not seeing what everyone else is seeing. So I'm perfectly fine not taking those guys. Like, go ahead. I don't think we should take D-line. And my philosophy is basically, if you're looking at what we're trying to do this year, which is get Fields into that QB1 Pro Bowl quarterback this year, because that's what we need. We need him to be the guy Ryan Poles is trying to build sustained success for the future. So we need a quarterback that's actually going to be able to carry this franchise for years. And we need to get Fields that confidence now, because we need to capitalize on his rookie contract, make a Super Bowl run in a couple years. You get the gist of it. So how do you do that? Well, you give him weapons. They did that already. DJ Moore is a Bear now. They traded for Chase Claypool. Darnell Mooney's already here. We signed Equanimeous St. Brown. Brought in Bob Tunyon. Cole Kmet's probably getting a new deal soon. So they did that, and that's pretty good. But that O-line is bad. So I would love it if they could fix that O-line. They didn't sign like hardly anybody. We got Nate Davis, and that's pretty much it. So I would love for them to take somebody like Broderick Jones, maybe Paris Johnson. If they trade back, maybe somebody like DeJuan Jones. I've heard a lot about Peter Skoronski, and the thing about him is his arms. People say his arms are short. Here's my philosophy with the whole short arms thing, though, is if you have the tape to overcome your physical shortcomings, then I value that over being a physical specimen that doesn't have the tape to put it together. Because you already know how to get around all that. I mean, look at Jason Kelsey. He's the best center in the league right now, and coming out of the draft, he was a late-round pick because he was too small, and that didn't stop him at all. So, but I don't know. I trust the experts more than myself, but I personally, I love his tape. He's the best overall prospect on the O-line in this draft, but we don't need guards. And people are saying he's going to be a really good guard, but he's not going to be a good tackle. So we need tackles. Paris Johnson has the highest overall ceiling. Broderick Jones is probably a day one starter, though. That's going to be a good anchor for, from the beginning. So maybe go with him because that's what we need right now. Is just we need a good O-line. I will take a good O-line and a terrible defense, with a good offense and a terrible defense for this year over our defense looks good, but our offensive line is so-so, and Fields didn't take that step forward. I want to surround Fields with as much talent as he can because that, to me, having a great offense and having an MVP caliber quarterback, I value that over having a defense that's solid because you can always build the defense. We are under a timer for this offense, though. We only have so much time before we have to probably let go of Fields if he doesn't take another step forward. But I already believe he's the guy. We just need to surround him with a better O-line so he's not getting sacked all the time. He is a time-to-throw quarterback. He's a guy that needs a second because he struggles with, what does he struggle with? Processing, short game, taking sacks. That all can be helped with an O-line. He had the worst O-line in the league last year, sacked 55 times. 55 times. Franchise QBs cannot live under those conditions. Andrew Luck, visions of Andrew Luck are dancing through my mind. So yes, I firmly believe we should take O-line. I see people saying we should take Jackson Smith-Njigba with our pick, and I don't think so because when you have a team with this many holes on it, wide receiver is not one of them. So we can't really be using our first round pick in years on a wide receiver when we already have 3 wide receivers that are starters, especially a stud number 1 like DJ Moore. If we didn't have if we didn't trade for DJ Moore, then yes, take Jackson Smith-Njigba. But we have him, and there's no point to taking a wide receiver when we have this many other holes on the team. It just makes no sense to do that. I love Jackson Smith-Njigba's tape, but also you have to remember he was injured all of last year. Is he still going to be that player? And even then, he only had 1 solid year of production. Can he keep that up? We don't know that because he didn't have 2 years. He just had 1 year. And we cannot... I feel like it's not only something we can't afford to do is take a wide receiver there, but also it's hard to justify it because it's Jackson Smith-Njigba who is good, but he's a slot receiver, hasn't played in a couple years, injury prone. We don't know how that's doing. He didn't have a full pro day, didn't do all the stuff at the combine. So I feel like that's too much of a risk and something that we don't need. If somebody like Marvin Harrison Jr. was in this draft, or going back, if Jamar Chase was in this draft, yes, take them, absolutely. But Jackson Smith-Njigba just isn't that kind of prospect. We need to look elsewhere, I think. I've heard people say that we should take a corner with our pick, and sure. I mean, maybe. Kindle Vildor is our outside corner. I don't think Kyler Gordon's ever going to be the outside guy. So, yeah, if they like Gonzalez or Witherspoon, then sure. I think it goes back to the same thing of I would prefer O-line because I don't want to go defense. But if they really value those guys and they think that... Because Jalen Johnson can't do it by himself. And I don't even know if they're going to re-sign him. We haven't heard anything about that. I would love for them to bring him back, though. He's very good. He can't do it by himself. Our outside corner is still Kindle Vildor. And oh, what if they re-sign Kindle Vildor? I don't want to live in that reality. I would really love if they just went O-line. Corner they could do as well because there are some very good corners. And after the success of Sauce Gardner last year, people value those. I've also been, and this is weird, it makes no sense to me, but I've also been seeing people say that we should take Bijan Robinson. with the pretense that, oh, we had a really great rushing offense last year and Montgomery's gone, so we need an RB1. Listen. We cannot be doing that. Taking a running back in the first round is for teams that have everything else figured out except that. If Buffalo picked a running back in the first round, that'd be fine. If the Eagles picked a running back in the first round, that'd be fine. Bijan Robinson can go to those guys. We cannot be taking that, especially when we already have Deontay Foreman on our team. We already have Khalil Herbert on the team. We have rushers. We have a great rushing offense. Yeah, we lost Montgomery, but we don't need to take a running back in the first round to fill that hole, especially with how injury-prone running backs are, and especially considering after the Tariq Cohen contract didn't really do anything for us, and after Todd Gurley's contract happened, these guys have an expiration date. After Khalil Herbert and Montgomery, I think we've learned that you can find great running backs in the mid to late rounds. Like, all of our best running backs lately have been late round picks. I mean, think about it. Tariq Cohen was a 4th rounder. Montgomery was a 3rd rounder. Jordan Howard was a 6th rounder. Like, we can find value in these late picks. Khalil Herbert was a 6th rounder. Like, we don't need to be picking guys this high to solidify our RB1s. We can find them in the mid rounds. It's fine. This is a deep running back class. Don't worry about it. Don't take Bijan Robinson, though. It'd be stupid. That's about all I have to say on the draft for this year. Let me know who you guys think we should take, but that's just my opinion right now, is that we should go O-line. We'll see what Ryan Poles does, if he trades back, trades up, whatever he does. We'll find out on draft day. Can't get here soon enough, though. This offseason's been boring, and after the draft, it's going to get even more boring. So, you guys take care.